So let's talk about Neera Tanden, right? I mean, whew, boy. So Neera Tanden has been nominated by Joe Biden to be the chair of the Office for Management and Budget. And Neera Tanden, for folks that are not familiar, I mean, if you're online, you pretty much know Neera Tanden. If you're online, especially if you're online and you're on the left, you know Neera Tanden, and you don't know her in a nice way, right? Neera Tanden is essentially, I don't know how else to describe her except as an online troll. She was a Hillary troll who just went out there and spit in the faces of progressives constantly. She talks down, she tears down all progressive legislation. She attacks progressive legislation and attacks progressives, attacks progressive legislators as well as their supporters. So she was very hostile towards Bernie Sanders and the Bernie Sanders campaign. It went so far as Bernie having to, draft a letter against her during the campaign. We'll take a look at that. This was seen by, this was quoted as being a quote, gift to AOC and the AOC wing of the party. So Biden considered this somehow, Neera Tanden, a gift to AOC and the AOC wing of the party, the so-called AOC wing of the party. And I don't even know if that is gaslighting or just, I don't even know what to call that. I don't know what to call that. But I couldn't name a single person more hostile to the so-called Bernie or AOC left-wing base of the party. I could not name a single person more hostile to them. Maybe Hillary Clinton herself, but not even Hillary. I couldn't even say Hillary. Hillary's not as hostile towards that base as Neera Tanden. Nobody. No, I can't name a single person. It's kind of side note, really quick aside. It used to be Neera Tanden and Peter Dow, which is wild. I used to be able to say like Neera Tanden and Peter Dow were so hostile towards the Bernie left, but it's just wild how far they've diverged, right? Like Peter Dow is like a full-on socialist at this stage. Like, he is an actual leftist. Would love to have him on the show at some point, actually, to talk about his journey from the centrist sort of establishment wing of the party to the actual left, truly progressive, although I now hate that term, wing of the party. Yeah, but it's just wild to see how far they diverged. Neera Tanden has stuck right with it, and she has maintained that throughout. So she actually, after she was nominated, she deleted about 1,000 tweets of hers. Literally deleted like over 1,000 tweets of hers that were hostile towards the left, some towards like Republicans that she was going to have to work with just a little bit, but mostly, 90% of it was hostility towards the left wing progressive base of the Democratic Party. And she went through and just like did a mass deletion of her whole history. But people remember, right? Like Pepperidge Farm remembers. All right, we remember Neera. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see. We're gonna look at first. I just wanted to show somebody that will break it down far better than I can. Brianna Joy Gray, who we love to highlight on the show, was recently interviewed on Democracy Now! About this pick of Neera Tanden for the Office of Management and Budget, and she spoke on that. Just to clarify here, Office of Management and Budget, obviously they are that's the office responsible for helping they interface with Congress, with the House and the Senate, in order to work on budgeting for the executive branch, for the administration, right, for the Biden administration. So she would be one of the most powerful decision makers on budgeting issues in the Biden administration. And the person that she has to interface with the most is in the House They have a Ways and Means Committee chaired by Richard Neal, who's a corporate Democrat. That's who Alex Morse ran against, and unfortunately was unable to beat. But hopefully, Alex Morse will be back to whoop his ass in a future election. Please come back, Alex, and get rid of that corporatist dirtbag Richie Neal. And so Richard Neal is the chair of the Ways and Means Committee in the House. And then in the Senate, you have Bernie Sanders heading the Senate Budget Committee. He will be either the chair or the ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee. Bernie Sanders is one of the primary people that Neera Tanden is going to have to interface with in the Senate in this role. And you can't tell me to like a person she's been more hostile towards, in the past few years. Like she again, we're going to take a look at, we'll look at, let's take a look at that first. Actually, let's take a look at the letter that Bernie had to draft about Neera Tanden and her center. She headed the Center for, she was on the board of the Center for American Progress. And they're like a Democratic loyalist think tank, essentially. So this is from Bernie. He says, "Dear members of the board of the Center for American Progress and CAP Action Fund, I write to express my deep concern and disappointment with the destructive role that the Center for American Progress and its affiliated Action Fund arm are playing in the critical mission to defeat Donald Trump. Last week, you published an article on Think Progress criticizing me for my appearance and for the income I earned from writing a book. Then, a day later, you published a video that dishonestly attacked me for hypocrisy in my effort to address income inequality in America, a video that was excitedly discussed on many conservative websites." The next part that he talks about, honestly, technically, I don't disagree with what they did next here, but he says, "Sadly, I'm not the only candidate in the 2020 field who has experienced personal attacks from your institution. My friend and colleague, Elizabeth Warren." Oh, wait a year, Bernie. You'll see. Just wait a year. You'll find out how much of a friend and colleague Elizabeth Warren was. But anywho, he says, "My friend and colleague Elizabeth Warren was unfairly targeted by a November 2017 article on Think Progress that echoed Donald Trump's bad faith claims that she was being a hypocrite about her ancestry. She was. That attack was linked on the Drudge Report and immediately immersed her into a rather unhelpful debate. A debate that should have happened. Again, in October 2018, you published an article stating that she was hurting Native American people. She was. That's not all. In February of this year, an article on Think Progress attacked another friend and colleague of mine, Cory Booker, for moving in a progressive direction and joining with me on a prescription drug importation bill. So that's actually Cory Booker was moving left, and Think Progress is out here, which is an arm of the Center for American Progress, that they were attacking Cory Booker for moving left in supporting a prescription drug, the importation of prescription drugs. Center for American Progress leader Neera Tanden repeatedly calls for unity while simultaneously maligning my staff and supporters and belittling progressive ideas. I worry that the corporate money CAP is receiving is inordinately and inappropriately influencing the role it is playing in the progressive movement." Absolutely. "I and other Democratic candidates are running campaigns based on principles and ideas and not engaging in mudslinging or personal attacks on each other. Meanwhile, the Center for American Progress is using its resources to smear Senator Booker, Senator Warren, and myself, among others. This is hardly the way to build unity or to win the general election. I will be informing my grassroots supporters of the foregoing concerns that I have about the role CAP is playing. Should your actions evolve in the coming months, I am happy to reconsider what kind of partnership we can have." I love that he called out the fact that they're receiving this corporate money and that is definitely influencing them. That they are, and how he says, Neera Tanden, she loves to, talk about unity, but it's always unifying into their, they want you to unify into their, into their ideology. As long as you're agreeing with them, sure, that's the unity that they're okay with. But as soon as it benefits them, they're willing to smear and attack progressives because they're hostile towards the progressive wing of the party. These are centrists at best who are hostile towards the progressive wing of the party. And look, like Bernie was out there campaigning for Joe Biden like it was nobody's business, right? Like Bernie was out there. He campaigned. He did more rallies than Joe Biden himself. He campaigned for Joe Biden. honestly, I think Bernie worked harder to win the presidency for Joe Biden than Joe Biden worked. Okay. So Bernie was out there doing the most against my own, that's not what I would have recommended for sure. Not until he got some real promises, like, come on, for instance, not putting Neera Tanden as your main liaison to Bernie Sanders as in the Senate Budget Committee, like somebody who's hostile to Medicare for all, Green New Deal, that any federal job guarantee, any $15 minimum wage. Like she's proposed cuts to Social Security and Medicare before. She's talked about that, negatively speaking about it in the language, entitlements. And so, come on, he got, not only did we have progressives gotten nothing so far for all the work that they did to help Joe Biden get elected, but it's honestly, this whole cabinet has been one big fat middle finger in the face of all the progressives, in all of the left. So where's the pushing Joe Biden left? He's staffing up and he's stacking his cabinet full of people that are hostile to the labor movement, hostile to working class people, hostile to the policies that we are popular policies, not just in the Democratic Party, but they are wildly popular in the Democratic Party, but popular amongst the entire American populace. Like you're talking about Medicare for all, that has majority, support amongst even Republicans. Okay, even Republicans with independents, and of course overwhelming support with Democrats. 88% in a Hill Harris X poll that they did over the summer. Medicare for all had 88% amongst Democrats, 66% support amongst all Americans, right? So majority support amongst all Americans. And these are the people that are hostile to what we all want. But, we were told by all these progressive groups that we gotta, suck it up and just go fight for Biden. And then we'll worry about pushing him left after he beats Trump. Well, you know what? They've called this election. The election's been called. Trump's been beaten. He's the president-elect. Joe Biden's the president-elect. He's staffing his cabinet up right now. When are we going to start? When does the pushing Biden left start? Because what I see from Biden so far is, again, just a big, huge middle finger to the left and to the progressive wing of the party and to these people, these groups. Bernie Sanders, Sunrise Movement. We covered Cedric Richmond, who I swear I thought his name was Cedric Richmond. I heard somebody say Cedric Richmond, and I've been calling him Cedric Richmond. I guess his name's Cedric Richmond, which I thought it was in the first place, but whatever. I digress. I'm still going to call him Cedric. But anywho, but here you have, Biden picking somebody that is, I couldn't think of a more, just, a bigger FU to the left than Neera Tanden, of all people.